Yes, we are live. Welcome, rock stars. Good to see you, everybody. Last live of 2020 is upon us. Nice. Good to see you. How are you? Nice to have you on the broadcast. My name is Borino. For the handful of you who probably don't know me, which maybe there is some still out there, right? I've been doing this for over 20 years. I had the privilege to coach over 100,000 of you. And it's been a crazy ride, but this is definitely the craziest year we've ever had, right? Would you agree? This is the year that brought us the crazy elections, the COVID virus, the masks, the social distancing, the craziest stuff. That last year you had told me the stuff we're going to have to be dealing with, wearing face masks and keeping 6 feet apart and dealing with all that shit, the hand sanitizers. And I would have thought, man, you're crazy. You're smoking some really good stuff. But here we are. We made it through. So for that alone, congratulations. Thanks for being here with me today. I appreciate you guys. I know holidays was good, right? Few pounds on, but I don't care. It was lovely. Hannah was cooking up a storm. We had a lovely Christmas. Hope yours was just as good. And now the end of year is here. Next week, we're starting a new year, starting fresh. So I had a cool session for you. We're going to be talking about expired listings, and this is the window. This is the opportunity. So any questions I can answer for you, please post them. I'll be happy to share. I'll be happy to answer that. That's why we're here. All right, so let me just adjust this so we can share the comments, right? All right. Now, Leonardo is here. Susie is checking in. Good to have you guys. Nice to see everybody, all the familiar faces. Leila's checking in. Welcome, welcome. Happy New Year to you as well. Let's hope that the new year, the 2021, will not be as crazy. Challenging, maybe, but not as crazy. I don't want to do that. So I have some slides that I want to share with you. I want to walk you through a system, but first I want to show you why it is important, why we're here today, why I wanted to invest the time to share this with you. All right. So here's what's going to happen. This happens every year. The volume may shift just a little bit, but the price is always the same. You're going to have a window. You're going to have a window of opportunity that's about this big. This is December 30th, and this is January 10th. So it is, give or take 10 days, 20 days. It depends on your MLS. But somewhere in this window, this is the beginning, this is the January, and this is February of 2021, right? So this is 2021. Okay, so we are in a hot seller's market. Not that many properties expire, although every market had at least 1,500 to 2,000 expires this year. So there are still some, but not a whole lot. But here's what's going to happen. So you're about here, and this is pretty consistent throughout the US and probably Canada as well. But around December 30th, here's what's going to happen with expired listings. It's going to shoot up every year. I've been monitoring this. You know me. I've wrote a book on expired listing called The Expired Plus. You might want to check it out. It might be good for you to pick up the whole system. It's theexpiredplus.com. It's the URL. So I've been following this for many years. It never fails. Hot market, cold market, seller's market, buyer's market, does not matter. Here's what's going to happen. The number of expireds is going to shoot up. And again, this depends on which area you're in, but many of you report to me these numbers. And if you can, please send them to me this year as well. I want to see how it's shifted and changed. But I'm predicting that it's going to be pretty consistent. It's been consistent for many years. It can be 100, 200, some of you report 300, 400 expireds within this window right here. And it's going to shoot up and it's going to drop off. This, my friends, and let's go multimedia. What color? Since we're talking money, let's go green. This is where the money is. If you hit this wave, if you do this right, and I'll show you in just a moment, I'll walk you through the process, where to find the expireds, how to approach them, the tools and the systems you need. And if you want to take a shortcut, get my system. I would love for you to get it because I can help you set it up and you can be up and running very quickly. But whether you use my system or you just do it how I'm going to show you, this is your opportunity right here. Because if you do this right, if you connect these with these leads, start building relationship with them, put them on your follow-up, and again, I'll show you, I'll walk you through it, you can have an amazing start of 2021. With a lot of leads, a lot of motivated sellers. Because here's what I have found. Even in the hottest seller's market like we are in most areas right now, there will always be expireds. There will always be somebody who hasn't sold the first time. And yes, occasionally the issue is price. Sometimes it's the agent, sometimes the combination of the two. There are various reasons, but what I found that many of those, and again, this varies from area to area, like in my area, about 50% of those that expire go back on the market, and sometimes very quickly. So you're looking at a great opportunity, but you have to be ready. You have to know what to do. You have to know the sequence. You got to get this right. Because if you do, oh, my friends, 2021 can be very different. So even if this was a shitty year for you this year, even if you didn't get to where you wanted to be, I understand. We all get kind of stunned for a while. Gloves are off. It's time to go on. All right? So this is what we're going to discuss, and I'll show you how to do that. Excited? Curious? Now, many of you have my system. Some of you here are my students. I appreciate my path students, so this may be a good refresher. If you've done expireds and if you're not converting them, or if you're curious and if you see there must be an opportunity, because a lot of top producers are doing expired listings. I mean, friends, here's the best news. This system to get these is going to cost almost nothing. You don't need to run expensive Facebook ads campaigns. You don't need to have fancy direct mail campaigns. You don't need any of that. It doesn't require thousands of dollars of investment and months and months and months of work. Yes, it does require work. It requires effort. It requires some skill and some knowledge. But this guy from Czechoslovakia figured it out. Because there was a time where I wish I could boast and brag how awesome of an agent I was. I was homeless. I was flat broke, struggling in Los Angeles in a very competitive real estate market. And it was the expires that finally turned things around for me, where I went from being broke within 10 months to have a very profitable career. Lots of listings, lots of clients. Now, I'm not saying it to brag, to boast, or to show off. I'm saying it to inspire you that even if you're struggling or if you feel like you need to make more money, you would like another good niche, this is the ticket, my friends. These are the easiest listings. This is the low-hanging fruit. So let me show you how to do it, yeah? I'll walk you through the process. All right. So, let's go here. Let's go here. And let's do this. So why we're talking about expireds, compared to a lot of these other leads, you're working with sellers, so you're not wasting your time with buyers. These are easy to find. And I'll show you where to look for them. But compared to many other lead sources, not that complicated to find them. There will always be expireds. I mean, if you check, I checked till September in markets like Orlando, 1,500 expireds. Chicago, 2,000 expired. Whole bunch. And this will spike up. It will go up. And many, as you'll notice, will be motivated and sell right away. Because one of the complaints you're going to hear from expireds is, oh, we never heard from our agent. We wanted to sell and he just kind of dropped the ball on us. Very often it's because they overpriced the property. They feel guilty. And the good news is, if they were on the market for 3, 4, 5, 6 months, they got spanked by it. They get more realistic about it. You know what I mean? So you can come in, be more realistic, show them the reality of the comps, and even if it's an up market ticking up, you still need to be within a range that will cause the property to sell. You can end up with a really well-priced listing. And as you know, a well-priced listing these days, man, it's money in the bank, don't you think? Most expireds appreciate good agent, no matter what happened. No matter what the scenario was, what the complaint was. They will complain about the other agent. Never called us, never did this, never did open house, never did much for us. So when you come in with good intention and some skill, you can land a good seller, which not only will result in one transaction, but it can result in multiple transactions. Okay? Referrals and so on. So here's what you need. These are the requirements. Good mindset. The right mindset is very important. The right tools, again, don't need elaborate, complicated systems with 170 steps. It's actually just a 4-step process, and I'll walk you through it. Some skills. This requires skills. Good communication skills, good conversation skills, getting appointments, following a system. Having a process in place where you don't have to improvise, you don't have to figure things out. It's set up for you. That's why if you want to take the shortcut, go to expiredplus.com, get the system. It does require consistent action. You will not have a whole lot of competent competition, but there will be other agents going after expires. That's why your consistency is important in the first contact and in the follow-up. Does it make sense so far? That's how you get there. Now, the foundation of it all requires a good mindset. You've got to go in thinking, I got this, I can do this, I expect to win. There are plenty, and there are. We're going to have, by the end of the year, by Sunday, there will be 6.8 million transactions closed. Think about that number. Last year was something over 5 million. 6.8 million homes sold this year. In spite of the COVID, in spite of the crisis, in spite of the economy collapsed, in spite of all of that. It's a phenomenal year when it comes to real estate. A lot of opportunities and a lot of commissions. So if you're not getting your cut, this is the problem. Maybe it's your mindset. Maybe you don't have the right systems. Maybe you need the right tools. I want to help you. That's why we're here today. 2 things you will need. There are 2 simple tools you must have at your disposal. Lead source. There'll be the provider of the data. I'll show you where to look. And then a contact management system. Because as you accumulate, if your case will be, let's say, 100 leads, it's much easier to manage, it's much more efficient and effective if you have a system that can manage your follow-up, manage the contacts, know who is who, so you can have intelligent conversations with them, okay? So lead sources, there are several. These are the 3 I recommend you look into. Vulcan 7, really good. Redex, really good. Espresso Agent, really good. Now, we had an affiliate deal with Espresso for you guys, rock stars. If you want to take it for a spin, see how you like it, use the code Borino. All these systems will get you the contact information of the seller, sometimes their email, their cell number. You want to even the playing field. This is what your competition is using to research them. So be on the same page as there, get the same data so you can be more efficient and faster reaching out to them. All of these are subscription-based, so it's going to cost you a few dollars, but compared to all these other systems, not that much. And the payoff can be tremendous. Plus, you can add like fizzballs on top of it, and now you have 2 really good buckets, 2 good funnels generating good leads for you on a regular basis. So that's the first system you're going to need. The second you're going to need is a contact management system. Again, there are 100 of them out there. The 3 I would suggest you look into is LionDesk. Very inexpensive, good, robust system that can do cool stuff, including emails, text, video, and all. Realty Juggler, inexpensive, good system, solid. And then Follow-Up Boss. It's the most expensive of those 3, but it's also a very robust, powerful system. Whichever one you're going to go with, it will get the job done. They all will do the same thing. Organize your leads, set up the automated follow-up with them, where you only insert yourself to do one-on-one texting. I'll show you how to do that. And in conversations with the sellers. Okay? Get this right away if you don't have one. If you have a contact management system, fantastic. Use it. It is important because, as you know, it's an old cliche, but it's true. Money's in a follow-up. Está bien? All right. Hey, Mr. William May, good to see you from Los Angeles, California. Borino's the king of expired listings. I appreciate that. Yeah, I've been called the expired guru. That is true. I've been teaching expires. We are on the 5th version, updated version, you know, the COVID version, if you want to call it that. All right. Now, this was called my secret weapon. It is the expired package. Now, even though I call it the secret weapon, the reality is pretty simple. And I kept it very simple for 2 reasons. I have found if something is too complicated, if something requires 20 different pieces you got to put together, and it's going to take you a month to assemble it, and it's going to cost you thousands of dollars, and it's going to require 7 different companies or institutions or people to contribute, not going to happen. Am I right? So if you're like me, it has to be simple and inexpensive, but it has to be effective. Those were my criteria. I wanted something when it comes to expireds that would help me stand out without breaking the bank or without being too elaborate, where I wouldn't finish it, where the perfection drive would kill me. Can you relate to that? So that's why I put together this. This is the expired package. So let me show you how it works. You're going to put together a simple resume. I have a little brochure. This is the one you're going to get with the Expired Plus. You can put your own together. It really is a piece that resonates with the seller where I just explain why a listing expires, how I am different, how I can remedy the situation. And as a free offer, I offer them, hey, at least get a market update on your property. Something that starts the conversation, okay? So, of course, my business card. The second thing I include is a little cover letter that simply says, hey, sorry, your property didn't sell. But if you notice on the letter, the anchor, the attention getter, is the picture of the property. That gets their attention. And all I need is just to grab their attention because then I have a better chance for them to actually read that letter. Are you with me? Now, what I include there, if you notice in the lower right corner, is the little sold. Because that really is the goal of the seller, to get the property sold. Then I include a little market update, not a CMA. This is just Cloud CMA generated, a little overview of what's going on in the neighborhood. There are many resources that can do this for you. Some MLS systems will actually print it out. The only reason I do this is one, of course, to continue that attention where they go, this is interesting. That's one. And 2 is to give them a sense of hope. Because a lot of these expired struggle emotionally with, can I really sell? They're confused. They're angry. They're scared. They're nervous. Is it a good time to sell? Is it a safe time to sell? Which is something you need to address very quickly. I include the market overview to show them people are selling, homes are being sold, homes are on the market, there are other people doing it. And if you, Mr. Seller, still have some kind of a dream or a goal to live somewhere else, there's a possibility. There's a sense of hope. I address the emotional part of their hesitation, which very often expireds go through. Make sense? So throw that in there. Don't need to overthink it. Like I said, this is just what's going on in the neighborhood, not how much your home may be selling for. That's going to come in later. Then I include the actual MLS printout. This is really good, especially if the pictures are not very good, something is wrong, the description is not accurate, whatever mistake there's on it. Now, I'm not bashing the other agent, never do. Please don't do that. But it's a great conversation starter where you can start pointing out, well, you know, you guys remodeled the kitchen, it looks fantastic. I think the MLS pictures and your promotional pictures, your advertising pictures should reflect it better. We should capture that. Next, I'm going to include some marketing samples. If you do just listed or just sold or open house invitations, throw it in there. There's something tangible, colorful. Very often I hear the sellers comment, hey, Martha, look at that. This agent does these beautiful postcards. Our agent didn't do it, doofus. All right. And then the last piece is kind of a subtle but very powerful marketing message. And it is a sold sticker. You know, one of those regular sold stickers you sometimes put on your properties, you stick it on or you post it on. This is where you stand out a little, because it is not just a sold sticker that sends a message, I'm confident I will get the job done. It is the little message that you're going to attach. They will say, please hold on to this, Jim. We will need it soon. A little bit tongue-in-cheek, but also neuro-linguistic programming. Because what's embedded in there, not just in the signature where I say you're a real estate agent, take a screenshot of that, use this. What is the presupposition there? I will be the agent. I develop a relationship with the seller, right? The tone is kind of conversational and friendly. I will get the property sold. And I deliberately use the we, because it indicates we're in this together. We are a team. Make sense so far? So always include something that will help you stand out. You can get these at Printerbees, the brochure, sticker.com and realestatesign.com are the places where you can find these, or you can just make your own. Local board sometimes sells those signs. All of these places are good to look. All right, so let's talk about the process itself, how the process works. It's called the active approach. That means I don't sit on my butt hoping and waiting for the seller. I reach out, I take the initiative, because I cannot count on the seller to sift through all that noise and all the marketing, or what's worse, another active agent snagging the listing in front of me, which is what happened to me. I learned the hard way. So I'm going to take the initiative. Let me walk you through it. Step one, as soon as possible, you're going to call the seller. And I'll give you a little script, a very low resistance dialogue you're going to use. You're going to call, you're going to text, you're going to email, and then if possible, and if it is safe, you're going to stop by to drop off that package and hopefully have a face-to-face conversation with the seller. If it's safe and if it's possible, okay? Now also remember, the mask will go away, the virus will go away. We're back to business as usual. This is a very powerful way to do this. Make sense? All right, so that's step one. Step two, this is called the first salvo, is the visit. If at all possible, have a little 5-10 minute conversation with the seller. Even if the seller says we're not ready yet, and I'll show you in just a moment why they say it and how you take them through a process, a psychological process, what triggers it and how to overcome that. But often, they will say, well, not ready yet. Even if they're not, just the fact that you're there in person, that face-to-face conversations, that communication you're going to have establishes connection and relationship, they will remember you. It's just like we remember faces, right? You don't remember names very often. I know I don't. But it's the face that just gets locked in. So that visit can start the process of good follow-up. You with me? So go there in person if possible. Besides, you're not going to have a whole lot of competition. You'll be surprised how almost nobody does that. Then you put them on a follow-up. That's where the contact management system comes in. Some of them you drop. Either it's the property or the seller, you don't want to deal with them, or they're clearly not motivated. You can drop them. And then we go for a listing appointment. Now, this can be the same day. This can be a few days, few weeks, few months. It just depends. Two things are vital there. The seller's motivation and the seller's urgency. Motivations mean they're clear. We want to live in Florida. We want to be near Tampa. We want to buy a 4-bedroom house. That's the motivation. And then urgency is we want to be there by March. Those two must be in place. Okay? So this is the entire process. It is no more complicated than this. This is the process that got me and of course, thousands of my students now. Bunch of listings, bunch of leads, bunch of commissions. No more complicated than that. Now, when I say it's not complicated, I'm not saying it's easy. Real estate is not easy. Doing this, not exactly easy, but it's definitely easier than a whole bunch of other ways to make money. All right. So here's the process of ascension. Remember, your objective, number one objective is to get in a conversation. So email them if you can. Send them a quick little email. Mail them something like the expired package, especially if they live out of the area or you can't reach them. Just send it in the mail. Send them a little personal video. Send them a little video message, and I'll show you what you can say in it. Send them a text if you can. Texting is really good, very powerful, quick back and forth between you and the seller. Make the phone call. Get in a conversation. I'll show you the dialogue outline in just a second. Visit them in person. Set the listing appointment. Your objective is do the ascension. You want to ascend from the lowest impact, like email, to the highest impact, which is phone call, then visit face-to-face, and then the actual appointment. Now, if you can do this on Zoom, great. If you can do it in person, fantastic. Do the best you can with what you have. What is the best you can do is do that. All right? Your objective is to have a conversation with the seller, or multiple conversations. Why? Because you can't list a property over email. It's like dating. You could not pick your spouse over text. It's good to start, but you want to ascend into a conversation. Why? You need to qualify them. They need to qualify you. You need to ask questions. You need to see, are they realistic? Are they motivated? Can I help them? Do I want to work with them? Do I want to help them? Are they reasonable? Do they have urgency? If you have a seller who has 2-3 years to get the deal done, you're wasting your time. But there will be also very many sellers with high motivation and high urgency. Those are the ones you look for. How do you find out? Through conversation. Real estate is still a people business. You must talk to people. Using this approach is the easiest, fastest way to do that. Because you don't wait passively for them to reach out. Sometimes they will. Like you will have sellers who will respond to the expired package, or the follow-up, or the postcard you're going to send, or the text you're going to send, which is great. But I can't count on that. That's too passive. Because it may or may not happen. Are you with me? So here's the dialogue outline. Now, before we get into that, the objective of the dialogue, of the phone call, is not exactly to get a listing appointment. Occasionally you will. Occasionally you'll hit it off with somebody, you will click, and that's great. I don't discourage you from setting up a listing appointment over the phone. But what I do want to stress out is, if you don't get the listing appointment, it's not that you're doing it wrong. It's because it's a process, and just like in dating, it takes a little bit of time for them to warm up to you. Remember, at the beginning, you're just a stranger to them, and worse, is a salesperson. So there may be some resistance. So the purpose of the call, hear me on this. Number one is to determine if they relisted the property. Now, why is that important? The reason I need to know, and of course, some systems like Espresso will double check the MLS and flag properties who have relisted. You don't want to bother with those. But sometimes it takes time, or the agent takes their time. But I have something that the seller does not have. I know something they don't have. And that's statistics. Because I understand two things. One, I understand at the beginning, it's the emotions that drive them. They're confused, they're angry, they're resistant. And they're scared to talk to salespeople, because salespeople can be manipulative and can be misleading and can promise all kinds of things just to get the listing. They experienced it for the most part. And two, I know that even if at the beginning they tell me they won't list, statistically I know there's about a 50% chance they will. So a 50% chance that you're talking to a seller who at one point will say, come on down, let's talk. That's why the objective of that call is just to find out if they're relisted. Now, sometimes they will say, yeah, sure, come on down. Let's talk. We're thinking about selling. Come take a look at our house. Let us know what you think it would sell for realistically. But sometimes they don't. Doesn't really matter. The outcome of the conversation matters very little. All I care about is if they have not relisted, in most cases I will work with them. You with me? That's how active rock stars do it. That is the approach. So let me walk you through it. You get the people on the phone, and you open with what's called a pattern interrupt. One of my favorite is, Jim, I know I'm not the first one calling about your house. It's kind of crazy, isn't it? All these agents calling. How many calls have you received? Oh, we received 15 calls today. I know. Where were they when the house was up for sale? Jim, I was wondering, have you guys relisted the house? Is it back on the market? I control the conversation through questions. This will require a little bit of practice. Trust me, you can get this down. This guy from Czechoslovakia got it down. You can get it down. So I get them on the phone. I ask these questions. So let me show you these questions. Take a screenshot if you want. And then I get into a conversation real quick. If a buyer walks in, would you still consider an offer? Would you entertain an offer if the price was right? Now here's what I'm waiting for is not, yes, of course, bring us a buyer. Let's go list the property. Well, all I'm looking for is anything other than hell no. Because if you think about it logically, if the property expired here, Most sellers, majority of the sellers, unless something significant happened in their life, and that's a possibility, but in most cases, if it expired December 31st, which is the reason for the spike, is most agents postpone or post-date their listing till the end of the year. That's what causes the spike. If they expired on December 31st, would they entertain a good offer on the 30th? Most sellers would, of course, right? Would they entertain an offer on the 29th? Sure. So why wouldn't they entertain the offer on, let's say, January 2nd or January 3rd? Most would. So the answer they're giving you is not really the honest answer, even though it may feel to them like that. The real reason is they're giving it to you as a brush. They're uncomfortable. They have no reason to trust you yet. So my objective is to find out if they haven't relisted, how can I build trust with them? And I know one thing about psychology is because we are wired this way. Our neurobiology, humans are wired for face-to-face conversation. That's why watching this video would be better than for you reading an email or listening to me. Make sense? So I want to get that face-to-face if it's possible. I'll do that through the script. So let me walk you through the rest of it. So if you could get it sold for a good price. If a buyer walks in, you love the price, they wear a mask. I know we're living in kind of crazy times. Would you still consider it? If they hesitate, or if they say, yeah, we would probably lie. Do you have somebody? All you have to do, don't lie. Don't be like all the other agents saying, I got a buyer for you. Don't need to lie. You simply ask, possibly, where did you guys want to go? How soon would you like to be there? What am I looking for? Remember what we talked about earlier. Urgency, motivation, realistic plan. Well, we still would like to go to Tampa. For the right price, we would consider it. That's all I want. That's all I want. Now, this conversation doesn't need to be long, but I will end with call to action. I will always end with call to action, whether it's say yes or no, doesn't matter much. But I will end with, Jim, well, let's do this. Let me swing by real quick this afternoon. I'm just going to drop out some information. No pressure. I'm not there to trying to convince you to listen with me or any of that. Just going to say hi, introduce myself so you can put name to the face and to this crazy accent. And then who knows, maybe down the road you guys decide you're going to give it another shot. We can sit down and talk virtually or physically. We'll see where we go. I can be there at 4:45 this afternoon, or is 5 o'clock better? That's it. You'll be surprised if you do this right. If you get this conversation right, where you don't go too much into, oh, me, we're number one, and all these scripted, stiff sales scripts rather than a conversation, very often you will hear, okay, but we don't want to list. You understand? Totally understand that. Baby steps, one little step at a time. That is the whole outline. This conversation should take probably 2 minutes at the most. Now, let me warn you, some people will be warned, some not so much. Some people will never pick up, but it is part of the process. So if I can get them on the phone and talk to them, awesome, I'll take that. What do we do next? Let me walk you through the next. Remember, this is just the first step. Let me just give you a little bit of an advice. If you want to earn more than average agent, do more than average agent. And being in this industry and being a coach for so many years, I know what average agents do. Not a whole lot. You know how I know that? Because most of them make less than $50,000 a year. So they don't do a whole lot. They either don't do expireds at all, or when they do, it's just a little phone call, or worse, they just send some junk email or some templated stuff they pulled off the internet. You got to do a little more. This is what more looks like. You put them in a conversation. If they say not right now, it's normal. They will say, we'll do it after the first of the year, or we'll do it in the spring. They have this notion, this fictitious thing, thinking that spring is better than January. In most cases, it makes very little difference, right? Now, what is really going on is not their plans, but fear. It's the emotions that hold them back. Fear that is it really worth it? Should we really go through it? Fear of what if? What if we're going to hate it in Tampa? What if it's too hot? What if we get a hurricane? What if we can't afford the payment? What if we're going to pick the wrong agent? They play their worst scenario in their head. And the fact that they're talking to a stranger who they don't trust yet amplifies those feelings. Are you with me? So what they're making is not a logical decision. Very often, logically, it would make way more sense to buy the beautiful home in Tampa and be near the family like they wanted to and play golf and enjoy life. That would be a logical decision. But as you already know, we humans are not logical creatures. We think we are, but we're not. We're emotional. We're driven on emotions. So many sellers will end up relisting regardless of what they say at first. Don't get swayed too much by their statements like, we're going to go back to our old agents. Many won't. Some will. And you can't control it sometimes. But many won't. Many will actively look for an agent, interview agents, and list with one. Now, what I'm going to show you in just a moment is you won't have a whole lot of competition. I'll show you some data. But first, here's the text you're going to follow up with. So step 1, you call. Step 2, you text them. Sorry about your house, Jim. Would you still like to sell if you could get a good price for it? That's it. Short and simple. Now, when you're getting the no at the beginning simply means Not right now, because they don't have any familiarity with you. They have no connection, so you're going to focus on that. Not right now often turns into maybe pretty quickly, and then into yes. The tipping point happens when the trust elevates. Trust plus motivation. That's what you're looking for, okay? So now, as far as your follow-up, 5 touches minimum. Most agents make a colossal mistake. I was one of them, cost me hundreds of thousands of dollars in commissions. It's one of the biggest mistakes of my business. I give up too soon. I would have a seller tell me no. I would take that no as face value. 6 months later, 3 months later, 2 weeks later, competitor sign. Big mistake. Even if they say no at the beginning, through the process of follow-up, you start chipping away at the resistance and fear. You start developing trust and relationship. You would be surprised how many people down the road, and sometimes within days, will tell you, you know what, let's talk. Most agents give up too soon. It is the persistence that will pay off. So stay with it. My sweet spot was between 5 and 15 contacts of follow-up. Best piece of follow-up right there on your screen. That is the best piece you can send, is a handwritten personal thank you card. And you can say something like, "Dear Susan, thanks for taking a few minutes to chat with me today. I know that selling a house can be a little overwhelming. Take your time, sort things out, and give me a call whenever you'd like to talk. I'm here to help. Sincerely," and now the little neuro-linguistic programming, "Borino, your real estate agent." Did you catch that? Little presupposition there. P.S. I'll keep you posted about the market so you can stay in the loop. Now, why did I include that? Why did I include that? I'm setting up my follow-up. I'm building the anticipation of my follow-up. I'm explaining the benefit. Hey, it's always good to stay in the loop, whether you'll be ready next week or next month or 6 months from now. It's good to stay on top of things. Be educated. Be informed. Always a benefit to the seller. Okay? So send these out. Get a nice stack of them. Not a corporate ones with giant logos and shit. No. Make it personal, handwritten, nice. All right. What else can you send? Something like this. This is a market update that my friend Chrissy and Lisa sent. Very good agents here locally. They just let people know. Some of them are their listings, their sales, some are not. But it keeps the conversation going, keeps engaging, and more importantly, it feeds the information that the seller finds interesting and helpful. Okay? If you do open houses, send an invitation. This shows, hey, I'm working. I'm marketing my listings. I'm not just sitting on my butt. Just listed, absolutely great, because it validates your expertise, that you're getting it done. Other people are hiring you, social proof. Just sold demonstrates that you will get the job done. You're not just making empty promises. Market updates, here are just some examples you can send. It is not the update itself, but it is the note you're going to attach to it. They will say, hey, Carol, here's a quick update on our neighborhood. Our neighborhood. Little detail makes a big difference. I think you'll find it interesting. Enjoy. Borino, there's that presupposition again. You're a real estate agent. P.S. This may be a good time to sell for a great price. Drop me a note and let's talk about your house. Call to action. Invitation to call to action. Okay? So you're going to keep sending these out. The most important part is right there. It is your face, it is your name, and it is the repetition that starts building familiarity. Now, why is that important? Because if you keep in touch with new expireds, it should be every 4 to 7 days, regular follow-up then every 14 days. Why? Because after about 14 days, they forget who you are. There is so much noise. There's so much information. We are all bombarded all day. The news, the television, the radio, the paper, the social media. They forget, so we must keep in touch. And the number one method, the best method, is just initiate these conversations. So as they see your name, as they see your face, they become more familiar. More trust is being built. More connection is being built. And the Expired Plus, of course, comes with a whole library of follow-up pieces. From letters to postcards to updates, all of that, including scripts and dialogues. Now, why is the scripts and dialogues important? Because conversations build connections. Although these days it's more like this, right? It is the conversations where they can ask questions, you can ask questions. They get clear through the process. What is it that they really want? How much it matters to them? What are they willing to do to get there? Because I'd rather find out that this seller is just not realistic and not motivated. They'll be a pain in the ass to work with. So I don't waste my time, I don't invest more energy and focus, and I can rather work with these 5 who are extremely motivated, nice people. And it's just a matter of time where I have enough connection and trust with them, so I can convert them. Make sense? So what this stands for is your ability to be good at conversations. To have these awkward at first conversations, like my good friend David Serpa calls it, be good at having awkward conversations. At first it's not very comfortable, it's not very easy. They have no reason to trust you yet. So through practice, through doing this over and over, first role playing and then talking to actual sellers, you're going to get good. And then, of course, I have programs like the Core Influence. Now, remember, you are never the only agent. Like I said, you will not have a whole lot of competition, but you're never the only one. It's going to be the agent who is most persistent, the agent who is the best at building trust and connection, who at the end will score the listing. And yes, it does require some discipline, but there is no victory without discipline. If this was easy, there would not be $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 commissions. And anybody would be doing it. You and I wouldn't be here. You become good building trust, you will win. If you become good at identifying what is the problem, what is it that they're trying to do, and how can I make that happen, you're going to clean up. Now remember, I said you're not going to have a whole lot of competition. Look at these numbers. This is from a National Association of Realtors. They've been studying this for years. These numbers haven't changed much. If anything, they get better. 70% of agents, 70% of sellers, number of agents contacted before selecting one to assist with the sale of the home. 74% of sellers, 7 out of 10, contact one agent. 89% of the sellers, almost every seller, 9 out of 10, contact 2 agents. You will not have a whole lot of competition. Why? Because most agents suck at building relationships. Most agents don't have a consistent follow-up. They don't have a system. They're shooting from the hip. So those who get this right, who master the conversations, who stay in touch no matter what the seller says at first, who are persistent and kind. I'm not saying pushy. I'm not talking about being aggressive or arrogant. I'm talking about being persistent by providing helpful information, valuable information. I mean, look at what I do here. Some of you have been watching my training and we've been in a connection for what, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 6 years? You never paid for anything. You never bought anything from me. It doesn't matter. I still enjoy training you. I still enjoy teaching you because I know that some of you one day, maybe now is the time where you say, well, fuck it. I got to have 2021 to be a better year than this one. Got to finally get this system and Borino will help me set it up, which I will personally, by the way. You will get a link to my calendar. You will select a date and a time slot, and you and I will get on Zoom, and I will literally walk you through it and help you with whichever help you need. All I ask you is first read the book so we don't waste time going through the stuff that's in the manual, okay? But you won't have a whole lot of competition. There's not that many agents with good system and good skills, and those who are, clean up. Totally clean up. Yes, it will feel uncomfortable at first, especially if you haven't done this. That's normal. That's like riding a bike. It wasn't like you hopped on a bike the first day and just like Lance Armstrong, right? It took a while. It's okay to have these awkward conversations. You'll get better at them. It's a matter of skill. It does not require any talent. And yes, you may screw it up. I said the wrong things. I had one of my favorite screw-ups. I had a 10-minute conversation with this lovely older gentleman in Whittier, California about selling the house. And he was very kind and very polite. And at the end of the 10 minutes, I realized I was talking to the wrong guy. Called him the wrong name. Everything was wrong. I was at the wrong house. I was in the wrong place. I thought he was in expired listings. He was not. Anyway, after 10 minutes, I found out, apologized, asked him if he had any plans to sell. He said no. That was the end of it. You will screw up. It's okay. So the URL, before we continue, is the expiredplus.com. Go to expiredplus.com. Check it out. I think it's a good system. 2 payments of $199. Very affordable. You'll get the book in the mail from me. Looks like this. I break down the system for you first. How to practice, what to practice. I will walk you through a 25-5 system to make the calling and the prospecting easy. We talk about leaving voicemail. We'll talk about how to put together your resume, how to make the visit effective, best questions to ask. It's all there. The follow-up is broken down. What to send, when to send it, how to incorporate video. Let's see what else. How to divide your leads into 3 groups, how to set up your contact management system, what not to do with your direct mail, how to ask the right questions during your follow-ups so you're not pestering people, incorporating text, buyer strategies, handling objections, all of that is there. So it's a complete manual. Like some of you, and I very much appreciate it, call me the expired guru. That's really where I put all the information. So if you screw it up, you will screw it up. It's okay. That's how we learn. Don't let that stop you. Use every opportunity, every tool to connect with these people because there will be a bonanza for a few days. It's like that feeding, you know, those fish that just, there'll be tons of fish. And the smart fishermen will come with a net and pull a lot of them out. So do that. Now, what I will teach you in the process is how to master all of these points of contacts, how to get good, you know, social distancing included. Relationships rule the real estate selling process. This is still a relationship business. This is still a people business. These tools are helpful, like having the expired package is helpful. Having a good contact management system, very helpful. But it will not get you the listing. It will help you get the listing. But it's going to come down to how much they like you, how much they trust you. That's going to be the agent they pick every single time. You must master this ability to break the barriers, lower their resistance, build trust and relationship, and demonstrate in the process, without selling yourself, that you're competent, you're confident, and you have a heart. You do it with compassion. The trick there is really consistency, being consistency with it. Because the repetition, where they see your name, see your face, you keep following up, is the key. All right. That is the path. That is the way to connect with these folks. There are plenty of folks who will need your help. Plenty of people who right now are about to expire, who will be actively looking for an agent. You can be that agent. It is through the consistency and repetition you're going to create familiarity with them. They will be familiar with your face, with your voice, with your name. That creates the comfort where they can start asking you questions, having an open conversation, and build trust. Because you know your business depends on trust. Every single listing you ever gotten was because they liked you and trusted you more than everybody else who was a potential candidate for the listing. Then put together a plan. So you don't improvise. You have a system, you have a plan. You call for 25 minutes in the morning, take a 5-minute break, call for another 25 minutes, repeat in the afternoon, follow up. That's all it takes. You don't need to spend hours and hours and hours and hours. I mean, yes, some investment of the time and effort is required, but it doesn't cost a whole lot. Here's the thing, if you don't do this, somebody else will. If you don't call, somebody else will. If you don't follow up, somebody else will. If you don't get the listing, somebody else will. And you can get a lot of good listings this way. I can't promise you how many, I can't promise you how soon, but I can promise you that if you don't have a system, if you don't change something for 2021, it's going to be a shitty year. Because there are people in your area, there are agents in your area who are building the system, who are getting better, who are educating themselves, and who don't mind being persistent and active to get the business they deserve. Are you one of them? If you are, come on board. We'd love to teach you. Go to expiredplus.com, check out the system. There is more to this than that, of course. I want to help you. I want to get you the follow-up system. I want to get you the materials. I'll send you the book. I want to teach you how to do that. Leila, I appreciate that. Leila says, Borino, this was very helpful. I appreciate you saying that, Leila. Thank you. So 2 payments of $199. Would love to help you. Let me personally help you. I want to do that. Okay? That's the road to the lifestyle you want. Because if you don't change anything, how do you expect things to just magically change? You know what I mean? It doesn't work that way. Leila says, so true. I'm guilty of it also. You and everybody else, including me. How do you think I end up being homeless? I didn't have a system. I had the wrong mindset. And I wasn't building my skills. That really is what it was. William says, I personally endorse all of his courses and help my business tremendously. William, thank you. I appreciate that, good sir. And you've been in the business for a long time, so a veteran like you endorsing it, it's very kind. Thank you. All right. This is a Steel says one. Carlos, appreciate that. Yes, good. Excuse me. All right, my friends. Be ready. Don't waste this opportunity. I would hate for you to come January, look back and say, oh shit, I should have. This was a great opportunity. I know these are challenging times. I know. We go through it, everybody, you and I, my kids, you know, they've been home studying for the last, God knows what, 6-8 months. We all are in the same boat. So it is not the circumstances. It is how we respond to them. Some will react, some will respond. How can you respond better is by saying, okay, what do I need to do? I need a different mindset. I need different tools, and I need a different system. That's what's going to make a difference in 2021. Not the circumstances, not hoping that the economy is going to get better and the market's going to get better and there'll be more listings and the COVID will go away. I mean, eventually it will. Of course it will. But what do you plan to do until then? My suggestion would be what I'm doing just in my business as you do in yours is I'm educating myself. I'm working on my skills. I'm learning new stuff. I'm looking for new opportunities. And I have to shift some things. I can't just passively sit. Can you do the same? And can I help you in this process, make you better? It's not that complicated. Making phone calls, not hard. Sending texts, not hard. Talking to people, not hard. Dropping off expired packages, not hard. Sending some follow-up, not hard. Having follow-up conversations, all of that is just talking. It's not hard. None of this is difficult. It requires energy, focus, and building your skill. Can you do it? I think you can. Yeah. All right, my friends. So that was my message for today. I wanted to end the year on a positive note because I know there's so much bad news and so much shit going on that I just feel like, why not share something that will actually help you, that will grow your business, that will make an impact? Because here's what I know. A lot of you guys, my students or my friends, or you guys watching this, yes, you want to make money. Yes, you want the commissions, but you also want to do right by your clients. And what I believe is, if you learn the right way, you don't need to be desperate. You don't need to cut corners. You don't need to do shenanigans to make a lot of money, but it also benefits your clients. It elevates the industry. And it feels better that you're doing something worthwhile, helping people who want your help, who want to work with you. And there are tons of them out there. You watch. There'll be 100, 200, 300 in your marketplace within the next few days. It just feels better. Where you know where your next commission is coming from. Where you know that you have a system that's duplicatable, that's repeatable. And this is. So take the shortcut. Go to expiredplus.com, hop on it, 2 payments of $199. Of course, it's 100% money back guarantee. For whatever reason you feel like, well, this is not for me, or I don't want to do it, or I don't like it, or whatever. So let us know. Let us know. You have, I think, 60 days, 2 full months. Try it. See what you think. If you really hate it, no big deal. We'll be glad to refund your money. I don't think you will. I think you love it. And more importantly, I think you're going to get results very quickly. If you just implement it. That's the part. You still need to do a little bit of work. Okay. Jack says, thank you, Borino. My pleasure. Leela liked it. Izzy, my pleasure. Thank you, guys. Thanks for the nice, kind words. So with that, because this is our final official live of 2020. The good news is this crazy year is behind us. The bad news is there is no indication that at least the first half of the next year is going to be any easier or better. Who knows? The fact that you're still here, the fact that you're educating yourself, the fact that you're looking for resources, looking for answers, the fact that you want to do better, make more money, help more clients, just become good at what you do is an indicator that you're a different caliber, different person. No matter what the year was like, income-wise, don't let that tell you who you are. It's not. It's just at this point in time, during this crisis, and let's not kid ourselves, this is a crisis we're in the middle of, you weathered this storm. The worst thing you can possibly do is entertain a possibility of quitting or just accepting the reality. You don't have to. You can do better, and you will. You can make more money, and you will. You can help more clients, you will. Shifting mindset, building your skill, and implementing some systems is the answer. That really is it. So if the year was not stellar, you simply say, well, okay, fuck it. I did my best under the circumstances. Now I'm going to dust myself off, work on my mindset, read some good books, watch some good videos, educate myself, build some skills, get this Expired Plus from Borino, see if I can get some expireds and help some people make some money, and keep growing. There's no excuse. None. None. No story that should hold you back. All right, my friends. Wishing you first and foremost good health. That is important, because without it, we'd be screwed. So please stay healthy, stay safe, stay as positive as humanly possible, even if it requires an extra glass of wine every dinner. If it requires a little lubrication, do what it takes to keep the sanity, because I promise you this too will blow over. This too one day will make a great story where we'll be talking about what did you do through COVID and how did you survive COVID? We'll be looking at it back going, man, there was some crazy shit going on. Let's get back to business. The business is here. The opportunity is here. We're going to close 6.8 million transactions this year. So those who struggle don't struggle because there is no business. They struggle because of mindset and systems. I can help you with both. Come on board. Join us. Go to expiredplus.com. Get the system. I'll help you set it up. Let's make 2021 your year. It can be, and it will. I'm here to teach you, to help you, to inspire you, to push you, to nudge you, to whip my whip, crack my whip, to push you, because I know you have what it takes. You know how I know that? You're here. Thousands have quit. Thousands used the circumstances as an excuse. You haven't. You're still here. That means a lot. That means everything. So with that, thanks for weathering this tough year. May the 2021 be better, more profitable, and more enjoyable. Stay healthy, stay safe, Thank you very much for being a rock star, for being my friend, my student. I love you guys, love working with you, and I'll see you real soon. Coach Borino signing off. I'll see you on the inside. Let's go get him. Bye, everybody.